I'm not having it. I don't want it. It has too much sauce.
If you want to be heartbroken and your heart ripped out of your chest and your heart shattered into a million pieces and you'll never get over it, I mean, come on. There's a lot of things that I don't like to read about. I couldn't. For the life of me, I couldn't. Hi friends, good afternoon, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a week-long vlog of me reading. It's gonna be kind of like a week-long vlog of me mood reading, potentially from my TBR this month, and just following me along as far as your typical lifestyle type of vlog for me. This is my first one, so I'm really excited to see how it turns out, and I'm not sure if I have good lighting, and I'm also not sure if you can hear how windy it is outside, but it's super windy. So we have that. I wanted to share with you what I'm currently reading, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I mean, I had to start this series. I forgot to mention this in my October wrap-up and November TBR video that I just recently posted. This was part of my November TBR. I highly intended for me to read this book this month, so here I am letting you know that I forgot to put it in my video, but I had all the intentions of starting this series. Now, am I going to read and binge this series? Probably not. I want to pace myself. I want to read one book a month just to be able to read other books and start other series, because I'm in a huge fantasy mood and all I want to read is fantasy and sci-fi and fantasy romance and gothic fantasy. Any kind of fantasy, I feel like I'm in the mood to read at this point. If you haven't heard of what Throne of Glass is, this is the first book in, I think, a 7 or 8 book series. I read Sarah J Maas's ACOTAR and finished it not long ago. I read her ACOTAR series not long ago. Absolutely loved it. So I'm following it up with this brand new series. This has nothing to do with ACOTAR. It's just another one of Sarah J Maas's series that I'm excited to get to, and it is super popular. And I feel like at this point I am so late to the game in reading it, but I'm just glad I'm here, and here we are. We're reading it. And I really don't know what this is about. I have read up to page 64 and it is is slow. It is starting off a little bit slow, but it's still engaging because there's banter between characters and the storyline right now is interesting to me. So I don't mind it being a little bit slower in pacing as far as the first book in a series. So I'm enjoying it. We're following this, I believe she's a slaved girl who is forced in slavery. Her name is Selena Sardathian. I hope I'm saying her name right. The king that has taken over her territory and is now ruling her land or her territory or something like that has taken over and has enslaved her. She is this well-known assassin. She's the world's most famous assassin. We're following her right now. She's put in slavery. The crown prince has kind of propositioned her to become his father's champion, the king's champion, meaning kind of like a bodyguard, I'm getting the sense of. So he propositioned her, either you come and compete amongst other competitors in order to become my father's champion, or you just die in slavery. So if you become my father's champion and if you win the trials and you win the battles, then we will guarantee you freedom after 5 years. And so obviously she takes the bargain because she has, you know, at this point she has nothing else to lose. It's very interesting how it is. I'm almost feeling like there's a love triangle going on amongst her and the crown prince and his bodyguard, which is the captain of the guard. He's basically kind of like the supervisor of the guards, if that makes any sense. So I'm feeling there's like gonna be maybe a love triangle going on, and I'm here for it. So far, I love the banter that Selena has with the captain of the guard. I love that. He despises her and she kind of gives him a hard time, but it's almost very flirtatious and he wants something to do with her. With her relationship with the crown prince is described as this very handsome young man, basically is spoiled and gets anything and everything he wants, including women. It's almost like he doesn't want to be attracted to Selena, but he is. So there's that. I'm not gonna say a lot more because I don't want to give anything away. I think I've already given too much away. I mean, it's the beginning of the book, so it's not really like very spoilery. I'm enjoying it. It is slower paced, but I don't mind it. And if we want to read the back of it, just to give you like a better synopsis of what I'm talking about, because I might not be making any sense. It says, lethal, loyal, legendary. In a land without magic, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She has no love for the vicious king who rules from his throne of glass, but she has not come to kill him. She has come to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she will be released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Selena Sardathian. The crown prince will provoke her, the captain of the guard will protect her, and a princess from a faraway country will befriend her, but something rotten dwells in the castle, and it's there to kill. When her competitors start dying mysteriously one by one, Selena's fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival and a desperate quest to root out the evil before it destroys her world. See, I had no idea. I feel like the synopsis gave out so much that I was not expecting in this series, but nonetheless, I'm excited. So that's my reading update. You can see in the back right here. I convinced my husband to at least put up the tree so that tonight we can, as a family, decorate the tree. Halloween is over, and so Christmas. That's all I think. After Halloween, Christmas. As far as decorations go, I have a few storage boxes and bins right here behind the couch, and I had planned to put away all of my fall decorations and put up my Christmas ones so that tonight we can just finish decorating the tree. But it's 12:46. My husband's outside building and my daughter gets out of school at 3 o'clock. And I am currently cooking Jack's lunch because I had such a late morning. We had to go get an oil change for my husband's car, and I started working out again. I kind of am behind as far as everything I wanted to do today because I'm the kind of person that wants to do anything and everything all at once. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my son lunch, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of that time to read because as soon as Charlie comes home from school, we jump right into homework, and then the night basically gets busy from there. So I'll probably put up the rest of the Christmas decorations sometime this week. The boxes are there staring at me, so I have to do it eventually. And tonight we can just decorate the tree at least. I really just want to take this time before we get really busy, and I want to make my son lunch and read a little bit more of this, hoping that I can get to read 100 pages today, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Okay, it's literally nighttime now. It's the end of the day. I have not given you an update as far as my reading goes. I've just been super busy with everything. But it's 7:05. The kids are in their bedrooms, settling in for bedtime. I'm letting them watch a little bit of their iPad. They put on a movie or something, a Disney movie. And we're trying to practice how to try to slowly drift and fall asleep on their own without having me or my husband lay with them every single night. Last night we did it and it worked out so well. I think it's only because we ended up decorating the house, which I'll show you in one of these clips. I'll show you. But we ended up decorating the house, putting up the Christmas tree, so that kind of took the entire night. They knocked out as soon as we had them lay in bed. Anyways, they're doing that, and then probably around 7:30, I will try to start the bedtime routine with them as far as me laying down with them if they don't fall asleep on their own, but I'm hoping they will, just to get this new routine going. I do have an update as far as my reading goes. I am on page 110, and I still feel the same way. I'm still enjoying it. I feel like it's a lot slower paced than ACOTAR is. I mean, I have nothing else to compare it to but ACOTAR, even though it's totally a different story and a different world. I find myself comparing certain things as far as pacing goes. How I feel right now is that I'm absolutely loving the banter that Celaena and Chaol have going on. I really, really like it, and I foresee something maybe blossoming between them in the future, which is exciting. But I also see kind of a love triangle going on, possibly. This is just my predictions. I could be completely wrong, but with maybe her and Chaol and also the Crown Prince, which I forgot his name. The Crown Prince, of course they don't say his name on the back. Dorian. So as far as the characters go, we've just been introduced to a different character, and I think I'm gonna butcher her name, and she is a princess, and her name is Nehemia. I've been looking up how to pronounce all these courts and all these lands and all these names. I don't know about you, but it irks me when I'm reading something and I can't pronounce their name or the place or the name of the sword. It annoys me because it comes up a lot throughout the story, so I feel like I'm always saying it wrong, which is very annoying to me. We got introduced to Princess Nehemia, I think her name. Let me just look it up again. Princess, I think it's Nehemia. And we've also been introduced to some other side characters that are competitors of hers, that are part of this competition that they are sharing together as far as becoming the King's champion. Lots of characters are being introduced, but I'm not feeling lost at all because I have tabbed all my green tabs. Even if they're kind of side characters, I know, like with fantasy, I still have to remember them. But if you could see, all my green tabs, for me anyway, mean a new character being introduced or a little blurb about the character, which helps me out if I have to reference back, which is nice, which is why I love tabbing so much. Not to get sidetracked, the characters. I really like Chaol. He's one of my favorites so far. I like the relationship that he has with Elena. I like their banter, and again, I see something blossoming there in the future. I like Prince Dorian, even though he seems like a spoiled typical prince. For some reason, some of the little things that he does, at least in the beginning of the book, kind of remind me of Rhysand from ACOTAR, which, if I haven't said it enough and confessed it enough, Rhysand is my favorite, all-time favorite book boyfriend, book god, book everything that he is. He is my favorite. Compared to all the romances I've read and all the books I've read, he is my #1 pick every single time. There's little things in here that Dorian does that kind of remind me of him, so I like that a lot. Also, there's a mystery going on. Basically what's said in the book, somebody ends up dead, but not dead, literally ripped to shreds. Like his whole body is found in ribbons, basically. So that's introduced in the story, which makes it interesting. But overall, I'm enjoying it because every time Sarah J. Maas throws in those little banter breadcrumbs for me, I just eat it up. I love it. I love it so much. And I love banter, especially in fantasy. They're not just like rivals. They hate each other, or when they despise each other, it's like very intense and you can feel it. So I like that. I think Selena as well, she is such a badass. Considering she's only, I think, 18 is what is said in the beginning of the book. She is just such a badass, and I like how stubborn she is at times, and I like how cocky she is, because she has every right to be. She's the world's most famous assassin. I mean, if I was the world's most famous assassin, I would be like her too. So I'm really enjoying it. It is slower. It is taking me a little longer to get through, but I know the pacing's gonna pick up. This mystery has now been thrown at us. I know it's just gonna get better and better as I go. That is my update as far as the book goes. Now I'm probably gonna try to eat something, although I'm not really hungry right now, but I feel like I should try to eat something because I've been going all day, like busy, and I haven't really ate a lot. So I'll probably try to make myself something, check on the kids in a little bit, and then continue my reading. I'm actually making progress as far as trying to hit my 100-page goal today. Yesterday I read up to 69 pages. Actually, no. When did I start the book? Yeah, I started the book yesterday, Monday. I read up to 69 pages, so I was shy a few pages. Today, I have to get to 169 to make my 100-page goal, and I really want to hit it because I'd like to finish this book in this vlog. I mean, if I keep this up and it's 400 pages and I read 100 pages a day, I can potentially finish it in 3.5 days or 4 days max. It'll still be in this vlog, which would be nice. I would like to finish this so I can move on because I have other things on my TBR that I want to get to this month. I'm making progress on this, and hopefully tonight I can get some reading done. Good morning. It is now 10:53. So I did not make my 100-page goal yesterday. I read, honestly, I can't even do the math in my head, but I did not make it to 100 pages. But I am on page 130 and it's picking up. Or at least for now, I know where this is heading in this part of the book. So I stopped reading it this morning, even though I was really wanting to keep reading because I had to get Charlie ready for school. I didn't want to be invested in the book and immersed in the book, have that cut short because I had to get Charlie ready for school. So I ended up putting it down. Now would be the time where I would just try to read a little more. The problem is that there's only a certain window where I can read, have to pick up Charlie and also make lunch, and today I really want to make spaghetti. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up another book because it's available at my library right now on audio. Checked it out a while ago and I now have only 12 days to read it. It's part of my TBR, so that's good. And that is Bonesmith by Nikki Powell Preto. I've been wanting to read this book since it first came out on Fairy Loot. People were raving and talking so highly of it that I just felt like I was missing out. So I ended up purchasing the book not long ago, and now in this month I plan on reading it. There's so many other books I want to read too. Like I want to read my other Illumicrate editions as well. Because this is available on audio, I'm going to listen to it while I make spaghetti. You know, try to make progress on it. I do intend on tabbing it because I've heard it's really good and it's got a lot of world building and it's very descriptive. So this is the tab scheme. If you could see, there you go. So this is the tab color scheme that I'm going for. And when I open the book, I mean, the first sentence says, "Ready your blade." And to me, that's intriguing. I can't wait to start reading this book. I haven't started reading it only because I really want to sit down, listen to it, and read along with it as well, because I know I want to tab it. But since I'm going to start making spaghetti now and I want to feel productive and I want to feel like I'm trying to progress with this month's TBR, then I'm going to start this book while I do so. Even though this book is, what is it? Another 447 page book. Look how big the font is, which I don't mind at all. So that makes me feel like even though it's a chunky book, it's chunky because the font is huge, which is not bad. I'm going to be making spaghetti. Usually the traditional spaghetti that I make is from my dad's recipe that he came up with. I mean, it's not something we looked up online. My dad is a very good cook, so he threw a bunch of stuff together and you know, it stuck, and now that's the kind of spaghetti I like to have. It's very simple. It's literally spaghetti, whatever pasta sauce you want to use, unless you don't want one that has sugar, because if you look at the back of each jar, most spaghetti sauces have sugar in them. But I don't mind it, so you pick and choose what you prefer. It also has sauteed onions and garlic. The main star of the show is cream cheese. We just add cream cheese for the cheese base because we like our spaghetti very cheesy, so we'll do cream cheese. As far as my meat goes, which is not the healthiest, but to me it just tastes so good and so comforting, we add Spam. We use a light Spam. I feel like it's less oily, so we do that. So it's literally a simple spaghetti dish with Spam. I make myself some garlic bread and it's good. I was actually craving that yesterday, but I didn't make it because I was running behind schedule and I didn't feel like cooking anything last night. So we're doing it today. I just have to mix it all in.
So, can I see how it is?
Into the sauce it goes.
I can't wait. I can't wait until it's done. Myself in the camera. I'm not having it. I don't want it. It has too much sauce. What is that on top?
It'll try it out.
What is that on top?
It's me.
I do not like meat and noodles.
Will you stop freaking out about the sauce? You don't even know if it's good or not.
I'm in there.
Ready?
I'm in there.
We're gonna try it.
Wait, is that it?
You wanna try it?
No, I don't want the meat slap.
Okay.
I want barely even sauce and no meat.
Okay, let me try it first then.
I'm scared. I'm scared because I don't want to throw up everywhere like I did a very long time ago.
It's so good.
That's what I'm having.
You gotta open your mouth.
Close. I'm so scared.
Come on.
I'm so scared.
Ready? Come on. Here we go.
No.
Open. Give me 5. You like it? Do you want it for lunch? I won't give you any of the meat. I will just give you this, the dried parts, the parts that don't have a lot of sauce.
But this is good.
It's mommy's spaghetti. Good morning. Okay, so last night I really didn't get to read a lot. I've been listening to soothing background ambiance noises and it's just been putting me to sleep, especially on the colder winter nights where I feel like I just want to bundle up, get cozy under the covers, listen to my ambiance background noises, and then read my book. It's like a recipe for a disaster, basically, and that's me not getting much reading done. But that's okay. I'm enjoying the book. I'm still enjoying it. I'm now on page 160, chapter 23, and it's picking up. It's still a lot slower than I want it to be, but it's still a good story, and I'm still really enjoying it. So there's that. So yesterday, while I was making spaghetti, I did decide to try to listen to Bonesmith, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. For the life of me, I couldn't. I only listened to a couple of minutes of it, but I've realized right off the bat, literally the very beginning, the first couple of sentences of this book, if I'm not sitting down reading along as I'm listening to the narrator, because she has kind of like a very thick, I don't know if it's English or British accent, and it's hard to understand at times for me, I am lost. And the beginning is very essential because it just literally puts you right into an interesting part of the story which you have to pay attention to because there's just a lot of details. Characters are being introduced in the first couple of pages, ranking and the titles of these characters and what they do, and just I was lost and I wasn't really into it and I wasn't really enjoying it because I was trying to cook while listening to this, which was a disaster. Now I understand why people sometimes can't do anything else when it comes to listening to a fantasy, because you have to be immersed so much and you have to pay attention to every little detail of the book that if you don't, you will be lost. And I know that the beginning of this book is very essential for me to understand what else is going to happen throughout the story. So I'm not going to listen to it while I clean the house tomorrow. If I do, I'm just probably going to put it down for now and focus on Throne of Glass. And if you didn't know what this book is about, I couldn't tell you because I struggled paying attention to it, but for what I know, it follows this girl named Ren. I think her name is Ren. Yeah. And she is, the beginning of the book, literally the first page or two start off with her getting ready to do this trial where she has to work together in this haunted forest, and she has to be able to I don't even know how to explain it. She has to prove herself. She wants to become a Valkyrie, and in order to do that, she has to go through this competition slash trial and work alongside a reaper who kind of reaps the haunted souls in the forest. I don't even know at this point. I will just read you the back because I don't even know how to explain it because it did not have my full attention yesterday. With a fascinating world, absolutely delightful characters, and enemies to lovers romance, this book is one readers will devour before begging for more. Any moment now, the trial will begin. Ren's heart thundered in anticipation. If she passed the trial, she would serve for life as a Valkyrie of the House of Bone. In the dominions where magic welled up from deep in the earth, the dead lingered violent and unpredictable unless a bonesmith severed the ghost from its earthly remains. This work was more than a job or a calling. It was a necessity. But that didn't mean Ren couldn't enjoy it. That's essentially how the book starts. She's put in this trial and she's trying to prove herself to her father that she will be a Valkyrie, and it goes from there. But it's very interesting, it's very atmospheric, but it's one of those books that I cannot do anything else but have to sit and give it its full attention. Otherwise, I will be lost throughout the entire book and it's not going to be enjoyable for me. Because I've heard this is very heavy on politics, I think, and very heavy on world building. So I have to pay attention to it. Funny story is, if you haven't seen one of my wrap-ups, I talk briefly about Fourth Wing, how I have my reserved opinions on it. Everybody has their opinions. I didn't hate the book, but I didn't necessarily love it like most people did. But I did end up pre-ordering the second book to the series before I read Fourth Wing because I didn't want to have to go through the same experience of actually waiting 2 months to get it because it's going to sell out. So long story short, the first time I ordered Fourth Wing through Amazon, I thought I was going to get the very pretty stenciled Dragon Edges copy where it's just such a pretty book to have because the picture on Amazon showed that. Well, when I got it, it didn't, and I was worried yesterday that I had pre-ordered Iron Flame a while ago, even before I even started reading Fourth Wing, that I wasn't gonna at least get the copy that has the black sprayed edges. And so I was bummed because I'm like, man, I pre-ordered this book a long time ago and I feel like I could at least have that pretty copy to put in my bookshelf. And hopefully, who knows, hopefully I'll like the second book and then I will pre-order the other ones because I do believe that the author said it's going to be a 5-book series or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, long story short, I got it last night and I'm happy to say that it is the black sprayed edges. And even though this is not much because there's other prettier, nicer copies out there, I know Rebecca Yarros came out with a Christmas edition, which are so stunning. My friend has both of them, but I'm just happy to get this. I'm happy to get this on my bookshelves and I think it's really pretty. I think it matches my other one, even though my other one doesn't really have any kind of special things to it. I still like this set. I'm actually very surprised that I think the first book was 400 pages and this one is a whopping 619 pages. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually tempted to start this just because I want to see where the story goes. If I do, I would at least have to finish Throne of Glass, and that would mean I'd probably have to disregard the rest of my TBR for this month because I feel like this is the kind of story that I'm just going to take longer to get through. So I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going on a tangent on Iron Flame. So let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. I'm going to read now. I want to read for a little bit longer. Again, Throne of Glass is getting really good, so I want to read for a little bit longer before I go and do my workout. So I'm about to work out right now and all my workout stuff is on TV in an app. I do it with the trainer or sometimes they have live workouts. Anyways, that's besides the point. I'm doing biceps, triceps, I forgot biceps, triceps, and something else, but arms. I'm basically doing arms. And I just can't stand my trainer today. I think he's very annoying. And it's a 45-minute workout. Okay, I feel like I need to vent to you before I forget to because this has been on my mind almost all day. So right now I am on page 202. I'm literally halfway through the book now. And it's a little frustrating because I was thinking, have I been imagining my feelings towards this book? Because everybody swears by it, everybody swears by the series, everybody loves it, but am I loving it as much as everybody else does? And so at this point, the story's picking up, it's getting more interesting, but I just feel like I don't even know how to describe my feelings. I'm enjoying it, but it's just a bit too slow for me, and I'm getting frustrated with it. Like, I'm getting frustrated with myself. And the reason why I'm getting frustrated with myself is because I watched a few TikToks, because clearly we all know that you can read this series in multiple different ways. And so I chose to read Throne of Glass first, and then read the book that comes after it, and then follow it with The Assassin's Blade. However, the problem is that I kind of regret doing that. And here's why. I'm not giving out any spoilers, so you don't have to worry. But here's why. Because I feel like it's a bit too slow for me. And we just jump right into the story kind of in this one, which is fine. But then it gets really, really slow. And even though I enjoy reading it, I enjoy and like the characters that have been introduced so far in the story, I feel like had I read this first, I would have been way more attached to the main character, Celaena, and her backstory, because she does have a backstory. And if you didn't know what this one's about, this book, it's literally 5 novellas in one book, and it talks about the main character's backstory. So my issue is, because I didn't start off with that book, I feel like there's tiny little spoilers that are given away in this book. So that's why I regret it the most, because I feel like I would have enjoyed my experience, especially given this is my first impression, my first initial thoughts on at least A Throne of Glass, the first book in the series. And I have to say, unless something happens and it completely manipulates me, then I don't think I'm going to be giving this book a 5-star. I think it might be a 4.5 or a 4, just because I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I feel a connection with the characters, but not enough to want to stop what I'm doing and just go read the book, if that makes any sense. So that's why I'm kind of bummed, because something is given away in this book to me that I would have loved to just have found out, and I would have loved to have read this book first, because you find that out in this book. But the reason why I didn't do that is because the way that people were explaining it is this. If you want to be heartbroken and your heart ripped out of your chest and your heart shattered into a million pieces and you'll never get over it and you'll never heal from that, then read The Assassin's Blade. I mean, come on. Who would want to read the book like that? And if you read this book first, you're not going to get as attached to the characters. So you should read Throne of Glass first, which is what I did. Read the book that comes after that. I think it's called Crown of Midnight. And then get into The Assassin's Blade, because then that's a good time to kind of learn the backstory of Celaena, the main character, and what happened to her prior to this book. So that's my preach, guys. If you're thinking about, here's my 2 cents. If you're thinking about reading Throne of Glass, save yourself the misery and kind of the bore fest of some of the slow and downtime that this book gives you, and just jump right into this one, because this one happens before this book happens. And I've heard it's a very emotional book. The way it ends shatters you, but you get to learn about the character before this book, basically. And I wish I would have done it that way. I honestly would have. I wish I would have done it that way, because I feel like I would have been more connected to the story and more connected to the characters. And I'm just bummed. I'm bummed about it, because I love Sarah J. Maas's writing, and I know for a fact that she does things for a reason. They're not just put in there and it's never addressed. So if there is a downtime and the book is very slow paced, it's because of a bigger picture or a bigger reason that's going to happen later down the road, which you will appreciate, because that's just the way Sarah J. Maas writes. So I'm bummed. It's too late now. I almost thought I wanted to, I'll just stop here and go into this book. No, I'm just gonna finish Throne of Glass, and then I really wish I could read The Assassin's Blade afterwards, but I've heard again, it's a bore fest. So you have that. So yeah, I'm gonna finish Throne of Glass. I'm gonna jump into Crown of Midnight whenever that is, and then I'll finally get the privilege to be blessed with this book. But I'm telling you right now, I feel like I'm already getting anxiety about this book because I know, based on what I read on this one, I know that this one's gonna shatter me, break me. I know some of the events that happen, and it's gonna give me a lot of anxiety, and it's gonna break my heart. But this is why I love Sarah J Maas, because she is such a good writer. She is such a great author. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. It's 3:27. I have been so busy today. First thing I did this morning after I read for a couple of hours was edit this vlog. Took me basically all morning to do it. The kids had lunch, and then me and my husband had lunch. I showered. It was wash hair day, so that took a while. And here we are. Now it's time for me to read. I'm gonna take advantage that the kids are just quietly playing in their rooms, and I'm gonna get some reading done before it's bath time, before me and my husband cook dinner. And yeah, so hopefully this turns into a 5, and Sarah J Maas has done it again for me, to where the book is particularly slow, but then I learned to appreciate it at the end because of the certain things that happen. So good morning, happy Saturday. I'm not really sure if this is good lighting or if you could hear me, but we're hoping you can. I'm here. I've never had chai latte before, except for the ones I make myself at home, but I'm actually very excited. That is really good. Oh my gosh. Even better than I thought it would taste. I'm here at my nail salon. I have 30 minutes. I'm gonna eat my ham and cheese croissant, and I'm gonna listen to A Study in Drowning. I actually started listening to it this morning. It was available on my Libby app, and let me just tell you, I have a feeling that the person that's narrating this story is the same person that narrated Those We Drown. I finished that book in the beginning of this month, and I just love this narrator. I think she does a phenomenal job at narrating books. She has this very beautiful British, I think, or English accent. I'm not sure, but I'm eating it up. I love it so much. If you guys didn't know what A Study of Drowning is by Ava Reid, we're following a character named Effie who is studying architecture in this very prestigious university. And she essentially wanted to study literature, I think, but she didn't get in, she wasn't accepted, so her second best bet was to go to this architecture school. So she's studying it, and she comes across a competition to redesign her favorite author's home, in short. And so that's where I'm at right now. I only got 12 pages in this morning, but let me tell you, I love the creepy atmospheric vibes that this book is giving me. Very academic, the setting is perfect, where she lives is perfect. This whole entire story so far is giving me very fall autumnal vibes, and I'm here for it. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm so glad that I'm listening to it alongside reading the book because it's just so good. There's some words in there that I would not know how to personally pronounce, but the narrator to me sounds like she's pronouncing them well, and she's doing such a great job. So there's that. I'm still reading Throne of Glass. I love it very much, but I needed a book to listen to while I'm driving to my nail appointment because it is kind of far from where I live, and it's perfect that A Study in Drowning was available right now. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm gonna eat my sandwich, I'm gonna listen to my book, and then I'm gonna get my nails done. Hi guys, happy Monday. Good morning. I am here to close out this vlog. Unfortunately, I did not get to finish these two books in this vlog, but I did get ahead, which was my goal. Before I let you guys go, I want to talk about my feelings and my thoughts of each book so far. For Throne of Glass, I am on page 330. I literally have less than 100 pages to finish it, so I'm going to hopefully finish it today, if not tomorrow, but my goal is to finish it today because I really just want to get through it. As far as my thoughts go, I like the storyline, I like the characters, but it is, again, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier in this vlog, it is kind of a little bit slower than I would like. compared to ACOTAR. I'm sorry, I have to compare it to ACOTAR. With that being said, I'm not going to be giving this book a 5-star unless it ends in this drastic way that I can't help myself but to give it a 5. Right now it's looking like it's going to be a 4-star read for me. It's not a bad book. I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying the characters. I'm enjoying the storyline. It is picking up. There's things happening. There's a mystery going on in it. But I just wasn't as compelled to read it as I was when I was reading ACOTAR. And I think a lot of the reason is because I did not read Assassin's Blade first, honestly. And I will say it again, if you are thinking about reading Throne of Glass, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you start off with Assassin's Blade. Because now I have to wait to finish the second book in this series to then jump into Assassin's Blade, which is annoying because I actually would rather have known and learned about the character's backstory and where she came from and what happened to her in her past, and then gotten into this book. So I really regret it, guys. Even though I know Assassin's Blade is going to be an emotional read for me, the way that this book is set out for you, I feel like there's little tiny spoilers, at least one main one that bothers me. Bothers me so much that when I go into Assassin's Blade, I'm going to be anticipating that part of that book that we know happens because this book gives it out throughout the entire book, which might ruin a little bit of my experience. So I'm going to say it again. If you are going to start Throne of Glass, or if you're thinking about it, I highly just recommend you start with Assassin's Blade. That's it. There's that for Throne of Glass. And then as far as A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid, I'm now on chapter 6. I've been listening to it on audio along with reading it physically, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking how atmospheric it is. But the only thing I don't like about it is that I'm going to tell you the trigger warnings right now. If you don't want to hear it, then skip ahead. This is not really spoilery. It's just content warnings. Had I known that this book early on, literally in the beginning chapters of the book, this incident is presented to you, meaning misogyny, I think I'm saying it right, misogyny, sexual assault, or sexual harassment, I would have probably not wanted to read this book. Because I understand that we have to bring light to certain things, but I just feel like I cringe when a character goes through something like that, and the fact that she's affected by it throughout the whole story, that gives her the personality she has. It's so sad and so hard to read. I just don't like reading about those things. I understand how important it is, you know, to shine light to it, but I just don't want to be that person to read those kind of things in a book because they just make me cringe and they put me in a bad spot. It put me in a bad place because I feel for the character and I just don't like reading about it. Not that any of that has happened to me or anything like that. I just don't like reading about certain things. I go into horrors also like very hesitant because I don't like to read about animal cruelty. I don't like to read about child abuse. I have kids also, so I don't like to read about child abuse. There's a lot of things that I don't like to read about. If I go into a book not knowing, because I really don't look up trigger warnings at all, then, you know, I'll just suck it up. But if it's the main reason why the character is a certain way and things have really affected her, and that is the main point of how she is as a person and what she's become as a person, I just can't handle it. I can't handle it because I'm constantly reminded of that one scene over and over and over and over again, and it's just torture. Like, for me, it's torture. I can't read things like that. I just don't like to read things like that at all. So that's my 2 cents on that. I'm not going to be grading the book down or anything like that because of that, but I just wish that part of the book wasn't there, honestly. Like, if it is, that's fine, but I just don't want it to continuously come up over and over and over again because I just get so sad. I cringe out and I just feel so bad for the character at this point, you know? Those are my thoughts. I'm planning on finishing that book, I don't know, maybe in the next couple days. Reading the audio version of it is actually very nice. It helps me to be able to get a lot of things done and be productive as far as my reading goes because I can actually do both. So that's really nice that I have that option. Those are the books that I've tried to read and have been reading for this vlog. I think this vlog was very successful because it's my first first weekly reading vlog, and I think I might be doing these more often just because I love doing reading vlogs. I enjoy them, but they take me longer because I'm not the fastest reader, and so I'd like to be able to provide some weekly vlogs in between sometimes when I don't do reading vlogs. We'll see. We'll see. I love reading vlogs, so we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much again for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you on my next one. Bye!